what you are feeling in this connection and what they are avoiding. So Spirit, for the viewer, can we please have a look at what the viewer is feeling in this connection? So this is going to reflect your current emotional energy, and it's going to show how this dynamic is really affecting you energetically, spiritually, or romantically. What is the viewer feeling in this connection, please, Spirit? We have got the King of Pentacles. And let's have a look at what they are avoiding. So this could be a truth that they don't want to face. This could be a feeling, a decision, a memory, or something that they're really afraid to admit even to themselves. We have got the 9 of Wands and the 7 of Swords. So the energy between these two piles, it tells a story of emotional maturity versus emotional avoidance. So the King of Pentacles really represents someone who is grounded and intuitive and perceptive. And of course, this is you. And this is someone who sees more than what's being said. We can see that the skeletal face is looking directly at this 9 of Wands and the 7 of Swords. And this suggests that the viewer already knows what the other person is trying to hide. So you're not chasing illusions. You're really reading truth through silence. So I feel that this reading is for someone who's really felt emotionally and spiritually connected to another person, but the connection hasn't progressed, or it has been riddled with mixed signals or avoidance or emotional withdrawal. So this is going to be for someone who has likely held space for another who is either emotionally unavailable or emotionally overwhelmed. And you're not wrong in what you feel, but you might actually be exhausted by what you are not being shown in return. As most of you know, I'm actually traveling in Greece right now, and I'm in one of the islands, the island of Hydra. And if you can hear in the background, there's a lot of donkeys braying and a lot of roosters. So if you're wondering what's going on in the background, that's what it is. So this pile number 1, what you're feeling with this King of Pentacles. So you're showing up as this King of Pentacles, someone who's really grounded and evolved and emotionally intelligent. So even if you feel shaky sometimes, you've done the work to get clear about what you want, who you are, and how you love. So you bring in a lot of stability and depth and devotion, so you are not casual. The imagery here of this skeleton, it really speaks volumes. It's saying that you've stripped away illusions and you really do see things for what they are, even if you don't always want to admit it. So we can see how this king's gaze, and it's gazing towards this other pile, and to me it really suggests that you're intuitively tracking this person's behavior. You actually know what's going on, even if they won't say it. We can see all of these beautiful little small purple flowers, and they are often symbolic of psychic insight and emotional mastery. So this shows that you're incredibly sensitive to their energy, and you could pick up on their mood shifts, their silences, their patterns, and their subtle changes, even when they're trying to hide them. And possibly you may even feel drained at times by carrying what they won't speak. And this card, it does suggest that you might actually be feeling a very complex mix of love, frustration, loyalty, and deep spiritual awareness that this connection is not normal, that there's something very significant about it, even if it's been painful. But the King of Pentacles also asks, are you holding on to something that isn't holding you in return? So are you planting seeds in ground that refuses to grow? So let's have a look at what they are avoiding. And these two cards together, they scream emotional defense and self-protection. So the Nine of Wands, it shows a person who has been hurt, possibly repeatedly, and now lives in this state of hypervigilance. So we have these have always reminded me of needles, this little eyes of needles, and the needle-like wands here, and this linchpin imagery suggests that everything in their emotional world is held together by one fragile thread. And perhaps they feel that one more emotional experience or one more risk, and they fear that their whole structure might collapse. So botanically, I'm not sure if these are meant to be narcissi, but that's what they remind me of. And this isn't just symbolizing resilience, but it also talks about ego wounds and the fear of being seen as weak. So this person may act aloof and distant, or maybe even arrogant at times. But to me, it feels like it's armor, it's not the truth. And then we move on to the Seven of Swords, and this is absolutely the card of emotional avoidance and secrecy and self-deception. And we can see within this card we have the black and the white daisies, and they show their duality. So part of them knows the truth, and the other part of them refuse to face it. So as I'm looking at this card, these black daisies, to me, they seem to represent the avoidance and the emotional shutdown. And then we have these double-petaled daisies, and they show that there's layers of self-protection and inner confusion, or even pretending that they don't care. And together they really paint a picture of someone who might lie to themselves to avoid vulnerability. So putting that all together, what they're avoiding is admitting how much this connection has affected them, and facing their own emotional immaturity, and avoiding speaking their truth because it might actually require change and responsibility. So this person, they don't lack feeling, but they lack the tools, and they lack the courage to hold it in a healthy way. So what we're seeing here is that you've shown up with depth and clarity and emotional insight, and they've shown up with fear and avoidance and protective behavior. So the energy between you is not unbalanced in intensity, it's unbalanced in expression. You feel it, they avoid it, but it's that avoidance that can even tell the story. And what you are sensing, it isn't just intuition, it is the truth that's been unspoken. So perhaps there's a question for you to reflect on. If they never admit what you already know, will you still keep waiting to hear it from them? So maybe that's a question for you to think about today. This is a collective reading, which means it's not going to resonate with everyone, and that is perfectly fine. I do have 2 availabilities for readings today. I haven't had many available as I've been traveling, but I've got 2 for today. So if you would like a private reading that's returned within 24 hours, then there is a link in my bio to that. Alternatively, I do have a few of the soul contract readings where we look at if there is a soul contract between you, and if there is, what was the original purpose of that? We look at if you've lived other lifetimes and how those lifetimes might be affecting this particular lifetime. We have a look at what lessons you have contracted to learn together, and where are you in this cycle together, and if you are meant to come together in physical within this lifetime. There's other questions that I ask, and once again, you can find the link to both of those readings within my bio. The cards that we've used today are called the Antique Anatomy, and you can find links to those within my bio also.